So hello and welcome to the Meet the Colleges information session. Before we start, a reminder that this session is being recorded and will be sent to everyone who's registered for the event afterwards, and it will also be made available on the ICE YouTube channel. My name is Jonathan Lippman and I'm Head of Academic Centre Administration at the University of Cambridge Institute of Continuing Education, also known as ICE. And this session is part of our broader MST Open Week, where you can find out more about our part-time master's courses at ICE. And as well as live sessions such as this one, you can find additional video resources on our website covering a range of information from financial and application support to student life and interview preparation. Don't worry if you miss any of these sessions or you can't attend live. You can watch the recordings, which will be available on our website 24 hours after each event. For our Meet the Colleges session today, we're delighted to have representatives from a number of our key Cambridge College partners, and we're really grateful that they've found time in their busy schedules to join us today. So they're all each going to take it in turn to talk a little bit about their own college. So just brief introductions, we've got Dr. Melanie Keane, who's a postgraduate tutor at Homerton College. We have Dr. Ben Wiedemann, who is Senior Tutorial Programme Coordinator at Lucy Cavendish College. Dr. Mike Finn, who's Senior Tutor at St Edmunds College. He's not quite currently in the chat, but he'll be joining us shortly. And Caroline Banerjee, who is Outreach and Student Recruitment Officer at Wolfson College. You'll be hearing shortly from each of them. We have the possibility of taking questions that you might have by using the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. So if you type any questions that you have, we'll do our very best to answer them. And there'll also be a Q&A session a little bit later in the panel session today. So what I'd like to do is invite in turn each of our wonderful college reps to just tell us a little bit about their own college and the sorts of courses that they work with on the MST portfolio. So I'll start by inviting Dr. Melanie Keane from Homerton College.
Thanks so much, Jonathan. Before we get started, I think it might be useful just to recap what a college is, because we know it's a very distinctive part of the Cambridge University experience. I always like to think of this as a 3-for-1 deal. You get membership of the University of Cambridge, of your specialist department or institute, and also of this thing called a college. So what is a college? Well, it is an interdisciplinary community, first of all. So it's people drawn from across all of the different academic subject areas, and it's also drawn from all of the different levels of people who work within that side of the university, from those freshers right through to those emeritus professors. So in that community, there's also a lot of opportunities for interactions and events. So each college puts on a whole range of things, from social events such as dinners through to other kinds of musical, sporting, dramatic, all kinds of activities that means people have ways of getting together and sharing their ideas, their expertise, and having that sense of being part of that group. Each college also has key facilities, and those are available to all of part-time students as well as full-time students. That's things like a college library, also things like a gym, importantly a dining hall or catering facilities, and of course accommodation is also offered by some colleges for some of the MSTs. So it would be the place that effectively becomes your home while you might be here on residentials. The final thing that I think every college offers is a real sense of support for students. So that's through a tutor system, which I think we're going to talk on a bit more about, but also through wellbeing support, often financial supports, and peer support through student communities, for example, through the undergraduate and postgraduate student unions. So that's just a brief overview for what I think is a really special part of the whole Cambridge scene, which is the interdisciplinary community, facilities and support of a college. So then going on to talk about Homerton in particular, I've got it sort of lurking behind me here. Homerton is one of the largest colleges. We are in beautiful, spacious wooded grounds at the south side of the city centre. We have a very large and diverse postgraduate community drawn from lots of different subjects, and particularly including large numbers of part-time students, as well as PGC students who are training to be teachers. So we've got quite a history of both academic but also more societal training. So we've got lots of people here who are doing work kind of out there in the real world alongside their studies. And we think that's really important, and we try to really promote that. We are a college that is both old and new, so we're one of the newest college, but we're drawing on a tradition that goes back over 250 years. So we like to think that we've got a lot of experience and create a really diverse, friendly and welcoming community, but that we're always changing and really trying to develop the kinds of support that we can provide for students. And we very much welcome part-time students as part of that. That was probably quite enough from me for now, so I'll pass you back to Jonathan.
Thank you, Mel. I think it's just worth pointing out you work with us, with ICE, on quite a wide range of MST courses, so that's worth noting. Thank you. I'll pass on now to Ben Wiedemann from Lucy Cavendish College.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. And thank you, Melanie, for that excellent introduction to the collegiate system and to Homerton. So Lucy Cavendish, like Homerton, is quite a recent college. It only traces its origins back to the 1960s, and it was only incorporated as a full college in the 1990s. Initially, it was set up as a place for female-only mature and postgraduate students. 4 years ago, Lucy Cavendish had a huge expansion and opened its doors to students of all backgrounds, of all subjects, everything. So we now have a hugely diverse and very large student body. Our student body is drawn from 85 different countries, and there are around 1,100 students at Lucy Cavendish. Geographically, we're probably about as far away, nearly as far away from Homerton as you can get. We're at the other end of the city in the northwest. But Cambridge, being a relatively small place, means that we're not actually that far away at all. So Lucy Cavendish has an ethos, like many of the colleges here and like Cambridge as a whole, of widening access to higher education. That's what we're very committed to, and it's what the university as a whole is committed to. And that's part of the reason why in the last 4 years we've undergone quite a huge change. Lucy Cavendish in particular partners with ICE on the MSTs in AI and ethics, the MST in creative writing, the MST in entrepreneurship, the MST in history. History is my own subject. The MST in History of Art and Visual Culture, the MST in Social Innovation, and the MST in Writing for Performance. So we have a range of things that we partner with ICE on quite closely. I think that about sums us up.
Thank you, Ben. That's fantastic. Caroline, would you like to tell us about yourself and Wolfson College?
Oh, there we go. I'm muted now, I think. Yes, sure, thank you. So yes, I'm Caroline, and I run outreach events and projects supporting prospective students in making their Cambridge applications. So a bit about Wolfson. Wolfson was founded in 1965. We are a highly international college, so we have students in any given year from over 90 different countries, and that's something we're really, really proud of. We are predominantly populated by postgraduates, so we have about 600 full-time postgrads across all years, about evenly divided between MPhils and PhD students, and then another 300 part-time postgrads. So we are have the most part-time students of any Cambridge college, and we offer 15 different MST courses in partnership with ICE. So there will be a lot going on. You'll be part of a really big body of part-time students and across Cambridge as a whole. So you're very, very welcome here. The college has a really active student association, so they're called WUCSA, and they have specific part-time student reps, and they organise a really dynamic programme of events. So they have lots of online events and seminars too, if you're not in Cambridge all year round. We are also a mature college, so that means all our undergrads are 21 years or over. So we're really used to supporting students who've come from all different non-traditional routes to higher education. In terms of kind of atmosphere and values, we're really known for being very egalitarian, our lack of hierarchy. So there's no high table in the college dining hall, which means that academics, students, staff, we all sit and eat together, we all learn from each other. In terms of why kind of students often choose Wolfson, one of the reasons is for our college library's WolfWorks programme and our Wolfson Writing Centre. So the library team host regular academic skills workshops, one-to-one sessions, both in person and online. And I'll speak a bit more about their offering for part-time students and the general academic support across Cambridge, I think, as a whole later. We do also have an annual in-person study week exclusively for part-time students, and that's really, really nice. So there's socials, a formal dinner, academic skills sessions, and other kind of activities and panel sessions to make sure you feel very fully integrated into Cambridge life and Wolfson College life. So I think that is all from me. I'll pass back to Jonathan now.
Fantastic. And that brings us, last but not least, to Dr. Mike Finn from St Edmunds College. Delighted he's been able to join us on the session today. So Mike, over to you.
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't see myself at the moment. I think my video is disabled.
If you would like to, we can hear you loud and clear. So you're very happy to. We're very happy if you want to go ahead.
Yeah, no,
or we can come.
I think the host has disabled my video. So right, great,
okay.
thank you. Fantastic. Hi, great to be here. My pleasure. I'm Mike Finn. I'm the senior tutor at St Edmunds College. We have a lot in common with the other sister colleges that have introduced themselves to you so far. We are also an extremely international college. I think many of us are vying for the title in Cambridge of the most international college, and we are consistently extremely international with over 80 nationalities at any one time, and that's a major aspect of the community at St Edmunds, which is, as our sister colleges have discussed as well in their respect, very diverse, very inclusive. St Edmunds, in terms of its history, was founded in 1896, originally as a college for Catholics who, until that point, had been excluded from Cambridge University for several hundred years since the Reformation. In the 1960s, it expanded significantly as a graduate college of the University of Cambridge. And then in the 1990s, it took on the full range of undergraduate subjects, but it remains a college for over 21s. And the key point as well is that St Edmunds is no longer a Catholic college. It has a Catholic tradition, but it's now a secular college. And we style ourselves as a faith-friendly college. So that legacy is really that we're a college for all faiths and none. So we are very much a secular institution, but with a history of dealing with a constituency that have been oppressed from the majority community. And therefore, we try to be as inclusive as we can in all our practices to encourage everyone to participate to the fullest in our life. In terms of MST programs, we partner with ICE, as our colleagues do, on a number of the different programs, and we celebrate our MST students as much as we can. We offer a number of different things for them in terms of mini matriculation, lunches and dinners and so forth to make them feel fully at home in the St Edmunds community. We welcome them to college at all points because they are full members of the college with every right to be there and participate in the full communal life of the college. The combination room, which is our student association, the CR, is non-hierarchical. Because we're a mature college, we don't have what you'd find in other Cambridge colleges. We have a junior combination room and an MCR, a middle combination room, where you have a split between the undergraduates and the graduates. All the students are together as one. We're about 700 students at any given point at the moment, although that figure fluctuates a little bit. And again, as colleagues have spoken about in their colleges, our lack of hierarchy extends to dining. We also do not have a high table, and fellows, the academics associated with the college, they dine with the students in formal dining. And that is, again, to encourage, mutual discussion, learning from each other, and just to emphasize really that fellows, academics like myself, I was trained as a historian, I'm now in the politics department, are also learners as well on a journey like you are. And we are fascinated by the stuff that our MST students do. I certainly am. I don't have a background in AI or AI ethics, but speaking to students that are working in applied situations already in industry and learning from them as they take the courses is a fascinating part of my job and existence. So it's lovely to be here with you tonight.
Fantastic. If I could invite Mike to keep your camera on, Caroline, Ben, and Mel, if you'd like to put your cameras on as well. So we'll move on now to kind of some general questions that we typically get asked about the college experience. So the first one, and feel free to just jump in and answer, is what exactly is a college tutor? and what role will they play in my studies?
I can jump in on that if anybody wants me to. So as the senior tutor, I'm responsible for the college tutors in my college. So they report into me. But to give you a basic breakdown of what a tutor is your pastoral point of contact with the college in the first instance. So you'll all have a tutor, and it varies depending on which college you're in. Some colleges exclusively have postgraduate tutors, and perhaps my colleagues will speak a little bit about that. We don't at St Edmunds. We have tutors that look after students in all categories of our student body, whether they're undergraduates, whether they're graduates, whether they're MSc students on part-time or remote courses. And therefore, you're part of a group of students that is part of this tutor's load. Now, what does the tutor do? The tutor is really a friendly face, a person with experience, usually an academic, who's there for you to ask any questions that you may have, anything you find difficult that you need to navigate about the university. They're your first port of call. They give you that pastoral support. They can signpost you to the different services that the university offers. And actually, sometimes they're just there for a chat. It's not all about just accessing services and also if you have a problem, although they are definitely there for that. It's also about, if you just want to share anything with them that you think is interesting or ask for advice on things, then they're there for that. They're your person who is there to support you in your studies from a pastoral perspective. Now, what they do in our college, and I imagine this is similar in many of the other colleges, is they will support you with things like, basic day-to-day questions about what your studies might be, or, what the issues with your studies might be. They're outside of the curriculum. So, I'm having problems with this. Can you help me with that? And direct you to the people who can support you, whether that's academic skills support, or whether that's, if it's wellbeing issues, wellbeing services within the university and so on. But also, fundamentally, they are a friendly face that's there to support you. They don't replace the other services the university have, which you have access to, but they are people that understand the language of the university and understand how to navigate the different bodies. So really, in many respects, they help you do that. And they're fantastic people. They all have a variety of interests. They come from a range of different academic backgrounds, and they're really there for you fundamentally first and foremost.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Mike. The next question is one we get asked a lot. So we have a lot of students who are coming back to formal higher education and study after a significant break. So it's a very general question around what support and resources might be available to help students who need that kind of additional study skills. Maybe it's the 15, 20 years since they last had to sit down and write a formal essay, for example. So what typically might a Cambridge college provide? Caroline, I'll bring you in first if I may, and then others may like to jump in as well.
Yeah, of course. Thank you, Jonathan. So I'll talk a bit about what we offer at Wolfson, because that's what I know best. But all the colleges and departments across Cambridge have really wonderful, really supportive library teams. So I would encourage you to reach out to your college of choice, have a browse of your department website and their library social media as well. And first, I would reassure you by saying that if you've had a break from academic writing or research, maybe you're transitioning from a completely different subject area, first of all, please don't worry. This is really common. We're very much all here to support you. So there's a number of things we do at Wolfson to help us do this. So the first thing is we have a program called WolfWorks. This is our academic skills programs. It consists of regular workshops and sessions on key skills. So there's sessions on note-taking, qualitative and quantitative data, statistics. And this is designed to make sure that you're supported through the whole process of becoming a really strong critical thinker and researcher. And as somebody already touched on earlier, this is a process goes on throughout your whole career. And we currently hold all sessions online for WolfWorks, so that all part-timers can attend throughout the year, regardless of where you're situated. The library team at Wolfson also offer 2 writing retreats across the year. So these are in person. They're held across a number of days outside of term, and you get the opportunity to come into college and to write socially. So they really give you that structure. And our academic skills team will host skills sessions as part of this to make sure you've got that support there. In terms of other opportunities, we have a Wolfson Writing Centre. So you can book in with a final year PhD student for some support with a piece of work, some structural support. And you can always also book a one-to-one academic writing session with our librarian. So at Wolfson, our librarian's called Laura, or our academic skills librarian, Alberto. And they're really flexible with these. So I know that they often arrange these during weekends or evenings for part-time students to make sure it fits around your schedule as well. And you can also get involved with our postgrad mentoring scheme through the library to just help you navigate your postgraduate journey. I'd say in general, the great thing about Cambridge, and a really exciting thing, is the provision of resources. So we've got such a range of physical books and historical manuscripts and online journals and articles. So you will be able to find what you need for your research. We have over 100 libraries across the city. It's the place to be for resources, lots of journal licenses. But again, if you can't find what you need, we're here to help. I know at Wolfson, and this is the same, I believe, across most colleges, you can submit special requests for your project. Our library team will try their best to get that resource to you, for you, as quickly as possible. We also have lots of special measures in place specifically for our part-time students to make sure that you don't feel restricted resource-wise if you don't live in Cambridge. So our library team can scan chapters for you from a book or resource, email those over to you. They're also more flexible with our borrowing processes. So if someone requests a book that you have, you don't have to physically come and give it back. You just need to let the library know. So maintaining that communication is important, and they can purchase another copy for that student who's requested it. And the library is open 24/7 at Wolfson all year round, even on Christmas Day, which is quite shocking. So whenever you do come into college, there'll be a silent and comfortable study space for you there. And again, I'd reiterate that these kind of practices, this kind of accommodation for part-time students is something that's very much shared across the university. So the library teams are excellent and they really want to support you. They want you to reach out to them. So I hope that helps. I hope that's reassuring that there's lots of things in place to make sure that you get a well-rounded kind of academic experience.
Thank you, Caroline. Thank you very much. I think that's covered that one beautifully. So I'm going to move us on and maybe invite Ben and Mel if they would like to think about this one. This is someone who said, I worry that having such short residential modules will make it hard to feel properly part of Cambridge. What advice would you have for those students who are not based in or near Cambridge? So what's available to them in terms of resources, and how can they become involved, I guess, remotely in college life?
Yeah, shall I take that?
Please do.
So I think partly what I said earlier is that when part-time students are here, we really do want people to feel that this is their home in Cambridge. And so we will try and put on some events and opportunities while people are here to give them a bit of a sense of what you might call the Cambridge experience. And for us, that might include purely social events, but it also might include things like a study skills event. We've run one called Mastering Your MST Toolkit over the past few years, which has been a sort of overview of that kind of support. I think increasingly as well, colleges are running events throughout the year, either wholly online or in hybrid fashion. So our principle at Homerton is very much to invite part-time students to everything. And that isn't to give a sense of FOMO. It's really to show that they're very welcome. And we do, for example, have regular research talks, which are run in hybrid fashion, so people can join those if they're not in Cambridge. And some of our other opportunities, for example, the Homerton Changemakers programme, which is a really exciting co-curricular programme that offers personal development and other kinds of opportunities. They have a mixture of different kinds of events, some of which, again, are wholly online. So we'd like to feel that part-time students, while they're here, we've thought about what would work, but in between, a warm welcome to things we're running, and where we can, we're trying to make that accessible online or in hybrid format.
Thank you. Ben, is there anything you wanted to add from a Lucy Cav perspective?
I think I just wanted to kind of re-emphasize the points that Melanie has made, and that in general, we try and make sure that MSTs are invited and involved in everything. For those things where we recognise they can't attend, we do, as Melanie said, and this is true of all the colleges, try and replicate them in hybrid or online format. I mean, Caroline has already spoken about academic skills, both being kind of accessible in person or online. And again, I think that's true across the colleges. Melanie mentioned research talks. I think it's probably true that across the colleges, we all do postgraduate research talks in some form or another. And I think it's probably also true that we either do them in hybrid format or we do some in person, some online. That's certainly what we do here at Lucy Cavendish. So I think it is important to emphasise that we do our utmost, all the colleges and the university as a whole do their utmost to make sure that that provision is equal across all elements of the student body. I think that's the only thing that I'd kind of really like to emphasise here.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. The next question, I'm going to throw it open to the panel. It's around accessing facilities and accommodation. So generally open question, can I stay in Cambridge and use facilities outside of the residential teaching blocks? And aligned with that, is it possible for me to stay in college accommodation? Now, I know this varies from college to college, so I'll just allow you to each take a moment to answer that. Mike, would you like to kick off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in terms of access and facilities outside of residential blocks, absolutely. You're always welcome to access the facilities. You're a full member of the college. It's your right, the entitlement to use the college and the university as you see fit. So we would encourage that. We very much enjoy having students of all our different programs on site as much as humanly possible, because it's great to have you there and to learn from you. In terms of accommodation, which I know is a major thing that people ask about, we can facilitate some accommodation some of the time, which is not really a very definitive answer, because what it means is it depends on when and what's available, which is a short answer really. But so essentially what we would suggest is if you were intending to come to Cambridge for a period that was outside a designated block and you wanted accommodation in college, then ask. We can't say yes, that we'd definitely be able to resource it. But if we have accommodation available, then we would seek to resource it. So it's not a flat no by any means. We will have accommodation at particular points that we could supply. But it does very much depend on the rhythms of the academic year, and it depends on when students are moving out, students are moving in, and so on. Because we are very highly subscribed for accommodation, as I know many colleges are. But yeah, we can facilitate it on an individual basis, case by case basis, depending on timing. But it does depend on time.
Fantastic. Anyone else like to add anything to that? In that case, that's great. Thank you very much for that, Mike. I think at some point we're going to come to the $1 million question, which I will hold back and just because we've had a couple of people saying, well, you've got 31 colleges in Cambridge, there's only 4 of them here today, so where are the other 27? So I think it's worth just providing some context. So on our ICE-MST part-time courses, we work with a number of partner colleges, and those colleges you can select when you submit your application. You can rank in order of preference, or you can just say, I don't have a preference, and we will allocate you. It's not generally or normally possible to be allocated to a non-partner college unless you have a pre-existing affiliation. So for example, if you did your undergrad or you've done another course and you've been matriculated at another college, then you can approach them. But in effect, if you have a look at the web pages for the course that you're interested in, it should tell you which of our partner colleges we work with. And so the $1 million question is, how do I know which college to choose? How would I know which one's right for me? Who would like to kick off?
I can start.
Please do, Mel.
Yeah, I think, well, the fact that you've joined this call is a really good sign, because what you're doing is acknowledging that there are these things called colleges and you're trying to find out a bit about them. So you've heard from a few of us here, but I would absolutely recommend making the most of that wonderful resource, the internet. And there's lots and lots of things, including virtual tours available at a lot of the colleges. And usually there's lots of information on the websites about the kinds of community in the colleges, whether there are any restrictions for the mature college, women only, etc. And just lots of ways for you to find out a little bit of a sense. So it's very much for me about fit, I think. So if you're on one of the colleges that just sort of seems to speak to you, then that's usually a good sign. For some MSCs, of course, there is a relationship with a college where everyone on that course would be at that college. For example, at Homerton, we have all of the architect apprentices here. So sometimes that is a little constraint, but I'd encourage you to keep doing what you're doing, which is trying to find out more about this and making the most of the online material. Of course, if you happen to be in or near Cambridge, then you can come and actually have a look around. If you go to what's called the Porter's Lodge, effectively the reception of each college, and tell them you're interested in applying, then they will be very welcoming and will give you opportunities to come in person. I absolutely acknowledge that might not be possible for everybody, but there's a lot available online.
Fantastic. Anyone like to add anything to that?
Yeah,
Caroline.
I'll add something there. So yes, I think definitely about browsing online. I think so. Our colleges have outreach officers. So do reach out if you're interested in a particular college. And we all work a bit differently, but reach out to the outreach team. There might be open day or outreach events. Some of those will be online. But also we can do things like give tours at times of your choosing. So it works very differently depending on the outreach officer. So again, get in contact. But for me, I could show you around college on a time, at a time and on a date that suits you. I could arrange for you to meet a current Wolfson student, often another part-time student or someone in a similar subject. And if you can't come in person, I could put you in email contact with a student ambassador. So there's lots of things we can do to support you in making your decision. I think this was already mentioned, but the university has a really good online virtual tour, and this is a new thing. So you can have a look around every college, and it's quite high definition footage, so it's actually really nice. And again, I think as has been mentioned, often our colleges have virtual tour videos with students showing you around. So again, there's so much online. I think social media actually is a big thing as well. So our colleges, our student associations, they've got social media pages. So on our Instagram at Wolfson, for example, and this is the same across lots of different colleges, but we have lots of student features. So current students will share their journeys, their college experience, often give really helpful top tips that perhaps staff couldn't give because it's really student focused. So have a read of those. I know at the top of Wolfson's Instagram, you can view recent student social media takeovers. So you can follow along a day in the life of a particular student. I know we've got one on part-time day in the life. So there's lots of things like that on the social medias. But again, I'd say, as has already been said, it's a very personal choice, and it's worth just having a think about what factors matter the most to you. All the colleges in Cambridge are really brilliant, and students tend to really love the one they end up at and say that that is the best college, but they are all quite different. So you want to have a look at things like atmosphere, which even if you can't come, you can work out that a bit from the social medias and the websites. Size, number of postgrad students, number of undergrads. You can have a look at things like funding opportunities. So does the college have travel and research grants available, maybe language learning grants? Again, location, social opportunities. So there will be part-time student pages, part-time student reps. Have a look at the welfare support facilities. And obviously some of these factors will matter to you more than others based on who you are. So yeah, I would encourage you, like has been said, to have a proper browse of the social medias and have a think personally about what matters the most to you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Caroline. That's wonderful. Kind of linked to that, someone's asked, so if my supervisor, my potential dissertation supervisor is at College X, do I have to apply to College X? No, you don't. You can apply to any of the partner colleges. And if your dissertation supervisor happens to be at another college, that's fantastic. That's all part of the collegiate system. Ben, I'm going to ask you if you'd be kind enough to answer this one. What's a formal hall? What's a matriculation event? Do I have to dress up and wear a gown? And what happens if I don't have a gown?
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a great question. So, as we kind of said at the beginning, when you start the MST here, you become a member of the university, but you also become a member of a college. And matriculation is the kind of, it's maybe a bit much to call it a formal process, but it is a semi-formal process by which you join the college. And it's always great fun. It's always great fun at every college. So the kind of formal part of this is that the words tend to vary across college, but you normally make some kind of pledge to uphold the good customs of the college or something like that. And once you've done that, you're a member of that college for the rest of your life. So it is a kind of the person who does it here at Lucy Cavendish likes to say you're signing your life away, but maybe that's too negative. You're joining us forever. And normally following that kind of ceremony, which is all done together, your cohort will kind of normally all do it on your first residential. There'll be a dinner afterwards, what's called a formal dinner or a matriculation dinner. And again, it's I think important to emphasize, and this is true across all the colleges, the point of a kind of formal dinner, the point of this experience is that it's a bit different. It's a bit different. It's an opportunity to have an enjoyable time, to have a 3-course served meal, have a bit of wine or not wine, depending on wherever your preferences are. And yes, also to wear a gown. This is a kind of a peculiarity of academic life in general, I suppose, is that sometimes we wear a bit of cloth. And it's something that kind of sets it apart from the normal everyday life. So it's quite an enjoyable experience. It isn't meant to be kind of off-putting. It's actually really fun when you get down to it, when you get the opportunity to chat to your colleagues, chat to the academic staff, because as we've said, all of the kind of colleges here are quite egalitarian and everyone kind of sits together, mingles, shares ideas. Gowns can be bought in Cambridge. There are various providers. Often colleges might have a kind of second-hand gown sale as well. So there'll be various options, and it'll be kind of made clear to you on your arrival how to do that. But I just want to encourage how much fun that kind of social side of the residentials can be when everyone's mingling, everyone's sitting down. And I know that all the colleges really put a lot of effort into making sure that you feel really welcome and you have a good time on that kind of front, on the formal dinner side, and in other kinds of social events as well that welcome you to Cambridge.
Thank you, Ben. And I can reiterate, having had the privilege of being invited to dine in all 4 of the colleges, it really is a wonderful experience, and it's fun, but it's also so enriching. Just sitting and talking to people that you maybe would never talk to normally. The next question is related to societies. We may have touched this on already, but someone said, well, if I'm interested in a particular sport, I'm a part-time student, can I join a sports club? Would anyone like to take that? Do we have any keen sports fans? Mike, I think you're the best person.
So to declare an interest, I used to work in the Premier League, so I do know sport is definitely my thing. So yeah, definitely you can join. You can absolutely join. The issue is obviously just logistics, really. In terms of the sports societies that we have at St. Ed's, you're a member of the CR. You can join any of the CR sports societies that we have. Obviously, it depends. You know, clearly, if you're in a different part of the world, and obviously the sport is being played here, then there's just a logistical dynamic to that. And I suppose the issue around that would then be, for example, if there's college representative teams and you're not around very much, it'd be difficult to participate in those. But actually, what I'd emphasize is that many of the sports societies in the colleges, certainly in our college, we have a real blend in our college between what we'd call high performance, you know, representative sports people who are doing stuff with the university and so on, and people who are just participating in sport. And you'd be more than welcome to participate as and when you're here within the context of those societies. And we definitely encourage that. You know, we have quite a thriving sports community at St. Ed's, as I know the other colleges do too. And, you know, we definitely encourage participation. So clearly, the level of investment you can put in will depend on when you're there, and that might have implications for whether you can be selected for a particular side. But there will be plenty of opportunities to participate in sport while you're here, should you choose to join one of those societies. So that's just being realistic about what you're able to do and what you're able to commit to, but the opportunities are there if you can make use of them.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. As we think about coming towards the end of the session, this question is about coming to the end of your studies. So how and where would I graduate? And is it possible to bring friends or family along to the graduation ceremony? Any takers for that one? Mike, go ahead. Or Mel, if you want to kick off first, and then we can bring Mike in.
Yes, so you will actually receive your degree or graduate if you choose to do that in person at the Senate House. So that's the university building right in the centre, and there's a very elaborate ceremony with a lot of Latin. But don't worry, people will take you through this beforehand. You will graduate with your college. So usually there's also a college part of the celebration, depending on the timing of the ceremony. That might happen before or after what happens at Senate House, and usually that's where there'll be an opportunity for you to sometimes have a photo, sometimes receive a college prize, usually have some kind of catering, whether that's an afternoon tea or a lunch or drinks, depending on the time of day, and absolutely to celebrate that very special day with guests. Of course, there are a restricted number of tickets to that actual small building in the centre of Cambridge, but most colleges really try as hard as possible to make sure that people can invite guests. Because you're graduating with your college, usually you would also be there with lots of other people getting different kinds of degrees as well. So it's also quite nice because it's one of these special things about the interdisciplinary college community that you really see. And at postgraduate graduations, I always like to see all the different colour hoods with all of the different kinds of degrees that people are getting. So yes, there's a formal ceremony in Cambridge you would go through with your college, and there'd be a part of the day that is at the college and a part of the day at the university. But if the idea of that makes you think that wouldn't be something you'd like to do, you can also choose to receive your degree in absence, in which case your degree certificate will be posted to you and your name would just be put through as someone receiving the degree on that day. But in general, it's a really happy day and really lovely way to celebrate a wonderful achievement of receiving this degree.
Thank you, Mel. Mike, is there anything you wanted to add?
Just to say that everything Melanie said spot on, and it's a wonderful day. It's a wonderful day. I was fortunate enough to be a student at the university. I have 2 degrees from the university. First one, going back to Melanie's point, I actually did in absence because I was studying abroad when I got that one. Second one I did in person because I wasn't going to miss the second one. And it's a really wonderful day. And just in terms of the whole atmosphere around it, as Melanie said, all the colleges will do some sort of event around it. But also one of the things that I really enjoy, as long as you're up for it, if you don't fancy it, you don't have to do it. But one of the things I really enjoy is we process from the colleges down to the Senate House, which is really quite nice. In terms of walking down through the streets of the university, through the college precincts, seeing the other colleges and so on. So there's plenty of good photo opportunities. So yeah, it's a really special day, and it's something that I think is uniquely Cambridge in the way that it's done. So it's something that you get to enjoy with all the other students from your college.
Thank you. I think that brings us to the end of the questions. We've had some great questions today, so thank you to everyone who's posted those. I think we've covered an awful lot there. I hope that you've got a good sense of what a Cambridge college is, the fact that they're all different, but they have communality and they all provide a wonderful learning community. I think Caroline's point is a valid one. Your favorite college will be the one that you become a member of ultimately. But we hope that's useful in maybe kind of giving you some insights into what you might want to think about. So it just remains for me to send my heartfelt thanks to Mike, to Ben, to Mel and Caroline for joining us today. Thank you everybody for joining us live. If you're watching this back, I hope you found it useful, and goodbye.